It's day 6. Just had our third ayahuasca ceremony last night. And it really pushed me to the limit. It wasn't as jarring as the first night in terms of just the difference of your consciousness being in this, other world. But it was like almost disturbing. Had a full cup, went back, sat down, started to come on, fiddled around in my position for a little bit, and then eventually laid down. And the visions just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. It was never ending, seemingly. It went by very quickly and extremely longly and extremely slowly. A lot of technicolor, geometric patterns, shapes, and whereas I didn't have any anacondas or any snakes or any serpents present in my first 2 trips, wow, did I ever have them in this one. Oh my God, everywhere I looked was just an image of a snake. And I was trying to understand and accept that they're a part of life. I had this overwhelming sense that they prey on the dead, that they're an important part of life because they decompose, they recycle, they beat on the bottom, which also there has to be something feeding on the bottom. And to not reject their existence was, I think, one of the messages I was getting. Don't reject the fact that serpents exist. And so there was one quite literally following me and my visions all the time, the whole night. It's extremely jarring. Lots of rainbow-colored, technicolor-like visions, not as overtly like that opposite being that I saw in the skull the first night, or that woman figure in the second. It did feel a lot more like ayahuasca was the snake. I wasn't going to light up a mapacho because I'm too tired. But with all these bugs out here, I think I will have to. I feel very weak. Probably slept for 2 hours. last night. I had the flower bath this morning. Feel extremely vulnerable. My intention last night was to give my heart and so I did. I actively tried to rest in my heart center and give my heart, which was an energetic expression and also a conscious effort to like push out love. And my thought was that in this process, I would become aware of what was holding me back from doing that more openly. Because if my gift truly is to give my heart to the world, I wanted to know how come I haven't been doing that so far. And I just realized as I'm talking through this that it's probably because I'm afraid about who I'm giving it to. So the anaconda was something that I was resisting. It's the serpent. And just image after image of like snakes preying on dead, decaying bodies. Or like just waiting around, hoping for that. That was really, they were waiting. And I was aggressively trying to think of, my son and my wife and like making sure that they weren't being trailed by this snake. I had the terrifying images of like a baby child coffin. And there was a ton about death. I don't really know what the message was around death. I mean, it's that it happens, obviously. I think there was something about not being afraid of it, but honestly, I couldn't get past my fear. So maybe there is something about not being afraid of death. So it has become clear that in order to give your heart openly, it has to be indiscernible from the people that you give your love to. Or at least that's a limitation. It's like conditions. You must be a good person, this or that. It's amazing how quickly insights come to you when you start just looking at the world. Um, Felt extremely vulnerable this morning, could hardly walk. I cried in the flower bath. And I just had a moment of just such vulnerability, like feeling sort of cracked open, sort of like something has come along with a chisel and hammer and put a crack in my chest. And that's scary for me. That vulnerability is scary. I don't know what to think. I mean, this is the last leg. It's like you came all this way. Let's do it. Let's just go there. You know. I'll admit fully that I was very close to asking for help and saying Selva. I was very close to. I mean, I was making commitments with myself to do a half cup or a 3/4 cup tonight because last night was over over the edge. I mean, it wasn't because here I am like able to get meaning from it, but it felt very over the edge. And right now I'm feeling it. But I will be honest, I do feel like I have a fresh perspective on life. Like a much more beginner's mind when I just look at the world. Sort of like looking at the world for the first time. So, pain, confrontation. Was it worth it? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't feel the intense gratitude last night because I was literally just grappling with staying somewhat of a semblance of alive, aware, a human existing. It was a battle. It was a 5, 6, 7 hours of just battle. It's really hard. That doesn't mean it's bad. That just means it's hard. I learned a lot about myself. And tonight, in T minus 8 hours, 9 hours, I have another opportunity to go back once again for the last time into the ayahuasca brew. I can hardly put together thoughts or sentences at this point. So I need to get some sleep and check in on how I feel after I get some water in my system, get some. I couldn't eat breakfast this morning. I had a few pieces of fruit, but get some water in my system. Get some rest. Wake up with a new lease on life.